What's up, YouTube, football fans worldwide? We're back on Justin's Pro Football Draft Analysis, and we're going to do a new video today on the 2020 NFL Draft Quarterbacks top 15, my top 15 rank. So we're going to do something new. Check it out. Just throwing something else out here I thought would be kind of fun to do while we're doing all of the analysis on all the prospects as well. Kind of doing this for 2020, and in 2021 we're going to probably take it to a whole new level with this scouting analysis channel. Okay, here is the big board that you'll see a couple different times, I would imagine, during this process of this video. And I have them 1 through 15. You can't see like the ones as it gets down past 14 there, but it's 14 and 15 would be McDonald and Patterson. But we'll kind of kick it into, I think, tiers, and you'll start off with Burrow and Tua and Love would be the first tier of quarterbacks. And I've done analysis on Burrow, Tua, and Love, and I've also done them on Fromm and Herbert. You'll hear mine coming up as soon as I get through with the mock pieces on Eason and the rest of the quarterbacks as well. But like I said, we'll start there with the top 3, so that's the top tier, tier 1. And Burrow and Tua really kind of dominate that tier. After Burrow and Tua, there's a significant drop-off in between Love and Tua. And the reason why is because I feel that Love is more of a project than a lot of people would think. I don't think he's going to jump in there and starting from year 1 or anything like that, and maybe not even Tua. But that's kind of what I think about those 3 quarterbacks right there. And that's the first tier of this process. With Tua being injured and that going into the account of this process, the 2 top quarterbacks, they're pretty close. They're really neck and neck. If Tua wasn't injured, I think we might be talking about Tua being the top pick, even though Burrow's going number 1 no matter what. No matter what we all say, these 2 quarterbacks are probably your best shot at having something into the future. And who knows, maybe we all will be wrong. Maybe they'll both be busts. We don't know. We don't know nothing yet. But as far as the outlook of their careers and their games as a whole, from what the eyes see, both so far have really passed the eye test and above. I mean, Burrow, for me, the first couple weeks of the college season, I wasn't too sold on him, and then I watched more and more games of Burrow, and I watched him progress, and then he passed the eye test, like, oh, he's pretty good. Then I watched some more games, and I'm like, damn, he's really good. Then I watched the championship game for them to go to the national championship, where he threw for 7 touchdowns in the first half. Then I seen the national championship game and him win that. Then I went and did some more looking on his story, and it's very unique. I mean, honestly, everybody gave up on him, and he got hurt at Ohio State and then redshirted that year, and then came over to LSU. Someone took a chance on him, and they won for it. And it's a unique story. Intrigued me to him. It's not the only part of his game that I like. I think he's got a certain moxie to him that it takes to play quarterback in the NFL, and I also think Tua possesses that same gene as far as moxie goes. I think they both have that kind of clutch gene to where they can make the right decisions in the pocket, as far as I need to pull this one down and run for it. I need to pull this one down and get out of the pocket and throw it away. I need to run this one for a first down. I need to slide right here. I think they're great quarterbacks as far as right now where their game is at. I mean, you never know. They could slide significantly. Something could happen. But for right now, their projection arrow is definitely up. Jordan Love, he's probably the X factor that a lot of people want to talk about, and a lot of people were sold on him. I think he's got a lot of upside. I think the kid's eventually going to turn into a good quarterback. I think he needs to get into the right system and study and work hard. And he's got a lot of talent. A lot of people want to compare him to Mahomes. I see more Russell Wilson than I do Mahomes. We need to see more on this kid. We need to put him through the ringer, so say. I mean, those other two are battle tested, in my opinion, and this one is not as much. I'd like to see a lot more on this kid, and I think sky's the limit for him, honestly, depending on what system he goes to, because we don't really know where he's going to go. I mean, a lot of people were saying he could go in the first round. I really don't know. And back to the rank board again, the top 15 board again. And then we'll go Eason, Fromm, and Herbert. Those you put into a whole nother tier in their own, which would be, in my opinion, like obviously projects to backup quarterback rank, material, I will be doing an analysis on on Eason more as we get going. So that would be the second tier, though, would be Eason, Fromm, and Herbert. That's the second tier of quarterbacks right there. Okay, as far as this quarterback goes here, Herbert, I've gotten a lot of look on this kid. I've seen numerous games, watched handfuls of them. And honestly, it's not like he's the worst quarterback of all time or anything like that. I don't say that. But he does demonstrate a lot of traits that I just don't think will translate well into the NFL. As far as his footwork and his mechanics and his technique goes, I think he's got a lot to be desired. I think he leaves a lot of his hips flailing open toward the sideline and not pointed at his target. His release is pretty clean. The ball does pop off his hand. He's got some skill. He can process reads pretty quickly, and I think he's more of a rhythm passer. We'll see what happens down the road, but I'm just not sold on him as far as being mechanically sound or anything like that, and it turns me off from the quarterback as a body of work in a whole. And back to the top 15 dry erase board for the rankings for the 2020 draft prospects quarterbacks position. And we went in the last tier was the second tier, which was Eason, Fromm, and Herbert. The next tier you'd go Gordon, Stanley, and Hurts right there. I think when you see the blue arrows on the side of them, those are the ones I think that are risers and that will be more talked about as the process goes along here. I think they'll be talked about a lot, and I think those guys will be the risers out of that tier. I didn't want to get too carried away on this subject, but I did add this picture here of Washington State's quarterback, Anthony Gordon. I've watched a lot of game film on him too, and a lot of tape on this kid, and I think he's got a lot of qualities that translate over to the NFL. I think he's a dark horse prospect as far as this draft goes for a lot of different reasons. I think he possesses a lot of different arm angles and knows when to get rid of the ball. He spins a really nice football and a catchable football, and I'll be doing an analysis on him later in the draft, obviously when it goes through on the mock. I just think this kid's got some stuff that a lot of people aren't talking about right now. Him and the Iowa quarterback, the Stanley, I think also has there's just something there. I think that Stanley kid's got an electric arm as well. I think he possesses some NFL traits. He's just not as mobile as some of the other kids are. And back to the dry erase board for the top 15 quarterback rankings for the NFL draft prospects. We didn't talk a lot about Hurts. I do think that Hurts possesses some skills. There'll be an analysis coming up on him on a mock pick. I think he can hurt you numerous different ways with his legs and with his arm. I don't know if he possesses the football IQ to make all the reads he needs to at the next level. He saw some of these other defenses once he got into the game, the championship game. He just didn't look very good. But you never know. Anything could happen. The light could pop on. The Huntley kid's kind of a wild card from Utah. I kind of put him in the same boat as the Hurts as far as processing speed, maybe not as fast, and his touch and putting the accuracy, passing accuracy where it needs to go on the level of these other guys. So they would go in that next tier. So that would be the third tier, Gordon, Stanley, and Hurts. Might as well just throw Huntley kind of in almost the top of that. But then the next tier after that, which would be the fourth tier, you could go Huntley, Mond, and Morgan. A lot of people talking about this James Morgan kid out of, I think it's Florida International or Florida FIU. A lot of people are saying this kid's a riser. I've been hearing a lot about him. Watched a little bit of tape on him as well. I think he could make a push to get into the mid-rounds as well. Then you go with the last tier of guys that would be 13, 14, and 15. All are dark horse project players. The Mason Fine kid is from Texas. He's a little shorter of a prospect, but boy, he can play a little bit, man. I think he can spin a really nice pass. The Cole McDonald kid, I think, actually does have a lot of good qualities. Almost would put him up here with the Stanley in the 8, but sometimes he makes some passes that just make you wonder. And he can throw a deep ball, but he gets throwing deeper, his accuracy gets worse. The Patterson from Michigan, I think, is also another kid someone will take a gamble on and try to fix him and turn him into what they want him to be, which is, at this point, he'd be lucky to be a game manager. But you never know. The kid could come out slinging and be the next Tom Brady. We don't know. I watched some film on him, and he's got a knack for making a lot of plays. As I do all of my analysis on all my players, I'll be doing a breakdown on Patterson as well. If he does get into my mock, if he gets drafted. There's a lot of players that won't get drafted. Just like 2 years ago, I got this thing. I've been scouting for a while now. At least we're going on like year 4 or 5 for me. But 3 years ago, it'd be 3 years ago now, when the Broncos took undrafted free agent Phillip Lindsay. I was telling anybody who would listen to me about Lindsay and how good he is, and I ranked him as about a third-round player, and he turned into a great undrafted prospect. I really like Lindsay. He's a dark horse. Just like last year, I called out the Western Michigan kid, Max Crosby. And he finished, second in Defensive Rookie of the Year. Players like that. I'll also be doing a dark horse candidate like that during my mocks and during these draft player prospect analysis. And I'll call them out. Hey, this is my dark horse, Phillip Lindsay, all Lindsay team dark horse pick right here. As always, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I thought this would be a fun thing to break it down and just do a rankings on it real quick. We'll catch you on the next one. Doses.